The news of British Prime Minister Boris Johnson testing positive for COVID-19 sent shockwaves across the globe today, especially in the United Kingdom. Many now believe that leaders who did not initially take the impact of the pandemic as seriously are waking up to its gravity. Tonight, the focus is on India because global bodies believe that we can lead the way for the world in this fight. So here is where we stand.
It's day 3 of the national lockdown. Discipline is seeping in slowly. These visuals showing people following social distancing norms are an example. But yes, there is a long way to go.
इनको खुले रखने की अनुमति महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने ज़रूर दी है, पर अनुमति के साथ साथ ये भी अपील किया गया था कि कोई भी लोग जो है वो भीड़ में न रहे। सदस्य से सिर्फ एक सदस्य जो है बाहर है, पर उसके बावजूद जो है मुंबई कर इन बातों को मानने के लिए बिल्कुल तैयार दिखाई नहीं दे रही।
Today, here's what the numbers look like. 724 people have been tested positive for the virus so far. Yesterday, there were 633 active cases. Today, as per the data available on the website of the Ministry of Health, there are 640 cases. Now let's compare this to what's happening in the United Kingdom, where Prime Minister and future King have tested positive.
Hi folks, I want to bring you up to speed with something that's happening today, which is that I've developed mild symptoms of the coronavirus, that's to say a temperature and a persistent cough. And on the advice of the Chief Medical Officer, I've taken a test that has come out.
On the 23rd of March, when UK reported over 8,000 cases, a lockdown was imposed. Many believe they acted too late. As of today, 14,543 are affected by the virus. America, which has now become the epicenter of coronavirus, has now recorded over 93,000 cases. World Health Organization believes India can lead the way for the world in this battle. So will this lockdown help India flatten the curve? Let's debate.
Viewers, welcome. In this last segment, we are going to go across to 5 locations. We're going to go to London, and we will be going to Indiana in the United States of America. And we will have, we'll be going across to Italy and Shanghai, and of course, we stay with Chennai. On the right-hand side of your screen is Dr. Silvia Bignamini. Dr. Silvia Bignamini, I do not know if I'm pronouncing your name correct. Thank you and welcome to our program.
It's correct, thank you.
Thank you. I have with us also Lord Ranger, Lord Rummy Ranger, very well-known industrialist and corporate figure from the United Kingdom, who's also a member of the House of Lords, recently made a member of the House of Lords. We have with us Dr. Subramaniam Swaminathan from Chennai. I thank you all very much. Dr. Silvia Bignamini is Health Director of the Casa da Cura San Francisco Hospital in Bergamo in Italy. And she has also been COVID positive. And she's been battling both the disease and personally. She has been, as a medical professional, she's been fighting COVID-19. And personally, unfortunately, she's also she's got symptoms of COVID-19. First of all, I'd like to know how you are doing, and how you're feeling.
I'm feeling better now, thank you. Although I'm still positive, the coronavirus test is still positive after 20 days, 3 weeks from the first positive test. I had pneumonia, interstitial pneumonia, but I was treated at home, and now I just cough occasionally, but the test is still positive, so I need to remain isolated at home for another week until I will get 2 negative tests.
Well, I'm glad that you are feeling better, and I wish you a speedy recovery. Dr. Silvia, how is Italy coping now? The latest numbers from the United States are more worrying than Italy. But the death toll in Italy, the way it's spread, has really been truly staggering. How is your country coping with the situation? And I don't know if you're keeping yourself abreast with what is happening here in India, because we have a complete and total lockdown that's been implemented at a fairly early stage. How do you think India is doing, and how do you think Italy is doing now?
The decision of lockdown is a sacrifice, but it will bring good consequences for the health of the people, the population. So I'm happy to hear that India took this decision. We took it on the 11th of March in Italy, and now in the rest of Italy, they might see some benefits from this decision. In Bergamo province, where I work in the northern region of Italy, the situation, the virus already spread all over before the decision of the lockdown was taken. So for us, I can say it's a bit too late in terms of prevention, and we have to deal with emergency and treatment of the people at all levels of care. There are people in need of, there are people can stay at home, as me, with the illness, the virus. People can go to the hospital, and people in need of intensive care units, which is now the bottleneck in my region because of the shortage of beds, because too many people are in need of the intensive care.
Absolutely.
So in this moment, I cannot talk of Italy as a whole. In my province, it's different from the rest of Italy because it's the highest number of cases in Bergamo province. In the entire country.
Viewers, as we are bringing you this broadcast, you would find the worrying breaking news. US surpasses China's COVID count. In Italy, there have been 1,000 deaths in a day, and the UK chief medical officer has also tested positive. We cannot underscore again and again and again, and I'd like to repeat again and again, the best decision that has been taken in India is to impose a complete lockdown early. Italy imposed a lockdown only on the 9th of March. There were 9,000 cases with at least 450 deaths. India imposed a lockdown when the figure had not even reached 500. And I think that is the important thing here. You have to respond early, and the people have to cooperate completely. I'd like to go across next to Dr. Bharat Barai. Dr. Bharat Barai is Medical Director of the Oncology Institute at the Methodist Hospitals. He's joining us from Indiana in the United States of America. Let's take a look at the numbers in the US. Very, very worrying, Dr. Barai. Surpassed China's toll. And I don't understand why Donald Trump is keen on lifting the social distancing measures. I don't understand why in the US today domestic flights are still operational. 519 people have died in New York alone. I do not know what is the logic that America is following, and how are people in America responding to this situation?
Well, unfortunately, many people in America are not taking it as seriously as they should. And even though there is a sort of lockdown in some of the states, about 19 states that do not have dense population, their governors are still resisting the idea of lockdown. And Donald Trump is hoping, and I'm not sure that that is justified, that in next 2 weeks or so, the numbers will start going down, and his philosophy that cure should not be worse than disease. So the numbers itself will have to convince him what is the right thing to do at that time.
Yeah, but this is, so you're saying it's uneven. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I really believe this is thoroughly and completely irresponsible of the Trump administration to believe that this will magically disappear, because that is trying to second guess a virus who nobody understands. Yes, Dr. Barai?
That is his philosophy, and he's trying to project that.
Well, he's not a doctor, he's not a public health official either. He's protecting business interests.
I understand, but
and he will be, but we are, why should the people across the world suffer for Donald Trump's attitude, for his keeping business first? It's incredible. It's ignorant, and it's irresponsible.
Well, there are many people who share the same kind of feeling.
Well, they may, but then why I don't think the world needs to suffer for American foolishness. I'd like to go across next to Lord Rummy Ranger.
No,
Well, that's my view. That's the view of most people here. America is being irresponsible. Absolutely irresponsible. Calling it a China virus is not going to help. This is not a propaganda war of the kind that Trump is used to. This is reality. And Lord Rummy Ranger from London today, when Boris Johnson tested positive, and then within a few minutes we heard that the health secretary was positive, and then the chief medical officer was positive. How are people in the UK responding to the present situation? And how would you look at the situation in India, the responses here compared to the responses in the UK?
Arnab, this is just proves that this virus is very, very dangerous. It does not discriminate against anyone. Rich, poor, men, women, old age, young age, is all the same for this virus. So therefore, we have to take it very seriously. And on top of that, in this battle, we are all in it together. The rich people cannot say that I'm all right, Jack, because if they leave the poor behind, the poor can come and infect them again. So therefore, we have to take a holistic approach to this virus. And we must listen to government directive. No supernatural power or can help us. No government can help us unless we cooperate with them. So therefore, we cannot be casual about this virus. The developed countries are victim. We are a developing country. We have to be very, very careful because we don't have the facility, the resources, if the epidemic goes out of control. And each member of the family is very important to that family, because with the demise of one person, one family can suffer for the rest of their lives. So therefore, I cannot insist or I cannot stress that please don't take casual approach to this deadly virus. And there are some very simple precautions. Wash your hands every time you touch something you don't know. Any door handle, any car handle, anything you touch, please wash your hand. And if you can stay separately from your partner, try to do that. And please leave your windows open for ventilation. Do some exercise. Do not go out, but if you got a garden, go in your garden. If you don't have a garden, go up and down the stairs.
Don't
and make sure you exercise.
Well,
and have
Lord Ranger, one thing I want to point out today. I think you make a valid point about the seriousness. And I think the fact is that, United Kingdom is a democracy and we are a democracy as well, but we have acted really fast. And I think we are blessed for that. In the UK, despite the lockdown, parks remain open. So people can go out to exercise. I think Boris Johnson said till day before yesterday, you can go out to exercise once a day. Today he's himself COVID-19 positive. The fact is Boris Johnson announced a lockdown earlier this week. He carved out an exception for people, saying when absolutely necessary and cannot be done from home, you can go out. Now you do not give these exceptions because people violate the exceptions. And I think the point is to be made today that had Boris Johnson and had the British government acted much faster, much earlier, then today the situation in the United Kingdom would not be what it is today. I think the numbers, I'm just going to tell you the numbers, it's in thousands, and every day hundreds of people are dying in the United Kingdom. It's very, very, very serious out there. I'd like to go across once again to Dr. Sylvia Bignamini, who despite being COVID positive has taken the effort to come on our program from Italy and share her experiences. As you can say, she's still getting better. Tell me one thing. Italian scientists are trying to find out whether there could have been an outbreak of COVID-19 in Italy, as Lombardy had reported an unusually high number of cases of pneumonia in 2019. The point I'm making to you is there were places like even in the US, Even in the US, there was an unusually high number of cases of pneumonia recently. Was COVID-19 lying dormant somewhere and maybe now only being traced in a bigger, clearer way because people are reporting it?
Yeah, this is an important point because it is about the testing strategy of a country and a region. Because you can test people for coronavirus, people that are symptomatic. And this is what we are doing now. We test all the people with symptoms. In some countries, I know they tested also people without symptoms, just having contact with people with symptoms. The thing is how reliable it is to test somebody without symptoms. And if the test is negative, can you trust this is a negative result for how long? Because the test is just a photography of a certain moment. And a person that can be tested today and is negative, maybe in 48 hours can become positive. So we learned that it is very important to monitor the symptoms and really identify all cases of pneumonia and treat them and also isolate them to avoid the spread, the transmission of the virus. So all people in need of hospital care get the test in Italy, and people that stay at home, if they develop some symptoms, but they can stay at home, they just remain isolated, they don't go around.
Yeah.
This is what we are doing now as a policy, as a strategy.
Yeah.
But the numbers can be different because it depends how many people you are testing. The more you test, the higher is the positivity rate, of course.
Yeah.
The less you test, the less cases you find in terms of coronavirus positive people.
Yeah.
So you need to balance your strategy depending on the objective that you have.
Absolutely. Well, in India, the objective is only to stop community transmission. Dr. Berai wanted to comment while you were speaking. Yes, Dr. Bharat Berai from Indiana in the US. Go on.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
No, I said I thought you wanted to add something when Dr. Sylvia was speaking. I saw you raise your hand, so I was just passing it on to you.
No, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Okay. My question right now is, viewers, we have to also look at the situation in China, Dr. Swaminathan. In China, in the Hubei province, which was the worst affected, there was a complete lockdown for 2 months. And it was eased just 3 days ago. It worked. The only example of, besides, because there is no vaccine, the only evident solution today is a lockdown. And the only example we have of a successful lockdown is in China, where in Hubei it was for 2 months. Now, therefore, are we also looking at a longer term lockdown? Nobody's even asking whether India's strategy is correct, because it is correct. And China has managed to flatten the curve. Only 55 cases reported today, compared to the thousands it was seeing till recently. Are we looking at a longer term lockdown? You know, three weeks, is it going to be enough? Or what do you think as a doctor?
I think the timing of the lockdown is correct. I think that's the first and most important point. Most of the Western nations missed that window of opportunity, and they probably picked it up a little too late into the epic curve, and they're paying a very high price, which is very, very unfortunate. And they all have my sympathies and my best regards and my best wishes on this. But unfortunately, I think they missed the trick on that, and they probably did not learn that lesson from China early enough. They underestimated how bad it's going to be, and that's the problem. Unfortunately, now China has got a new conundrum, and what goes around comes around. And now they are petrified about patients coming back with coronavirus from other countries and restarting another epidemic inside their own country. So they are doing what we did in the early phases, which is basically aggressively assessing all foreign returnees and quarantining them if necessary to ensure that they don't have a new outbreak of the disease.
Yeah,
obviously, they're using a lot of technology for this,
Yeah.
and hopefully they will be able to continue with this.
Yeah, but you know, it's not a China-US issue alone. It's not a China-Western Europe issue alone. It's a global issue. And I think the point, Dr. Berai, I'd like to come to you is that whatever has to be done has to be done at a level of global cooperation. There can't be different practices. And I hope we're able to harmonize it. You know, US cannot stand out as being, you know, relatively casual about it, while China is very strong and India is extremely, you know, stringent about the lockdown. There has to be even measures globally if this battle is to be won. Dr. Berai.
I agree that this is the best approach that India has taken at this time. Since we don't have a vaccine or we don't have a good prophylactic drug, the only way to do is separate out people for about 21 days. And 21 days seems to be reasonably right, because in most people by day 14, the virus sheds, except the Italian doctor. In the cruise ship, they had found that the virus was still there after 17 days. So 21 days seems to be right. And either the virus will die out in the person, or the person who suffers from the disease will go to the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. One question which has come, it's an unrelated medical question really. Dr. Swaminathan, what about COVID relapse? What about COVID relapse? Does this virus stay dormant and then come back? A lot of people asking about that, yeah.
Well, animal studies don't seem to suggest any relapses for this. We suspect that you will have at least a significant amount of immunity for a significant period of time. Now, how long that will be and whether it's durable immunity remains to be seen. But we suspect that you will have some amount of durable immunity on response. And so much so that people are even talking about hyperimmune or convalescent serum as an option. Obviously, it's still very early days on that. But yes, you do seem to have some amount of immunity to it.
Yeah, one next question is a more a social question. After this rather shocking news of Boris Johnson himself testing positive, and day before yesterday, you know, Lord Ranger, Prince Charles testing positive, and the US Health Secretary testing positive, are people beginning to believe now, socially, politically, everywhere, that only and only a complete, total, absolute lockdown will work, that there is nothing really like a partial lockdown?
Police has been given special powers to fine on the spot. The truth has come home. People are beginning to realize if the Prime Minister and the Health Secretary are not immune, they have no chance. So therefore, people are taking, Britain is on war footing, companies are manufacturing ventilators on a record time, medicine are being produced. So it is, you know, the Britain is not new to emergencies. So they have gone through 2 great wars. So they will come through. So this is what I'm saying. What India has done proactive, very good, that they reacted very fast and they listened to the Prime Minister's appeal and they have united as a country. Because this, as you rightly said, is a global problem. And if we cure the rich people and leave the poor people untreated, the rich people will be affected again. So we have to dispense this medicine across the board, regardless of social status. So therefore, I think we need to obey command of the government, because the government is advised by the Chief Medical Officer. And in the UK, people are now beginning to
Yes. I thank you. I thank you for joining me. Once again, wish everyone good health. To Dr. Sylvia, complete total recovery. And viewers, at the end, I shall say this, that today we are grappling with this massive crisis. Some countries have imposed a lockdown, some have not. Some, despite the pandemic spreading so much, are still at the initial stages of a lockdown. Some have flattened the curve. But there's only one thing I'll say again. There is no other solution. Across the world, the only solution, till there is a cure, and we pray that we find a cure soon, till there is a cure, there is only one solution, viewers. Lockdown, a lockdown and a complete lockdown. So wherever you are tomorrow, whatever your temptation to go out, don't. India, make it count. Come together for our families, for each other and for our loved ones. I shall be back tomorrow at 9. Good night and goodbye.